and we should achieve that in about 2 passes. I've never done this before on this planer, but that's what the spec sheet says. So let's give it a try. Look at that. Bam, baby. Welcome back to Cutting It Close. I'm Ryan, and in today's video, I'm gonna show you my $45,000 planer on steroids. Today's video, I'm gonna show you how I use it, why I bought it, and I'm gonna show you some action shots of it because we're gonna take a 2x4 from 1.5 inches thick to a 1/2 inch thick in 2 passes. So to give you a little bit of background on how I ended up with this planer, about 8 years ago, I bought my first one off of Craigslist for about 400 bucks. It was a clunky, junky monkey. It looked absolutely awful, but it got me to the next planer, to the next planer, to be able to get this awesome planer. So I just wanna show you some features. There's some things that are just like mind-boggling to me. I'm a little bit of a wood nerd, it's okay. And so I'm gonna show you that. Let's go. This thing has 2 6-inch dust ports to it, which take about 16,000 CFM. That's really, really big. Normal planers take about 400 CFM. There's actually 4 motors on this machine. So you have a 25 horsepower motor here, a 5 horsepower here, another 20 horsepower motor underneath in this area. You have even a 1/2 horsepower motor just to raise and lower this table. So it's absolutely bonkers how much power this thing consumes. Oh, and by the way, there's also 2 heads. And so here's one of the blades, which is really, 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 really big and also really, really, really expensive. The teeth on it are kind of cool because usually you have the square ones on these helical heads, and I'm touching it without gloves. I'm not gonna cut myself, I'm okay. So these usually have square heads on them. This one, for instance, only has rectangular ones, so you can only flip it twice. But this thing is an absolute beast. It's very expensive. I think it has 96 teeth on it, and this is just the bottom cutter head. There's another one over here on top that is also just the same as this one, super sharp, super expensive, and super cool. So as you can see, I can control the feed rate right here in this little cool meter box. It tells the motor to go slow or fast on how fast I want to put my material in there. We have this electronic keypad and a whole bunch of electrical gauges right here to tell you how big the motor is. I have head 1 start, head 2 start, I have feed rate. I can actually change the height digitally, right? So if I wanted to go to 6.8 inches, I can go to 6.8 inches and it's actually gonna move up. Really efficient, especially when you have a lot of employees in your shop. If you're like me, when you had the old planer, you had to like crank it and kind of eyeball it and put little feeder things in there. You don't have to do that anymore. This thing's all digital and it's pretty cool. So one of the really cool features about this is the first head's actually a joiner. So the machine's totally off, by the way, I'm not gonna kill myself. It has this chain right here that has these spring-loaded fingers on them and they're really, really sharp. And this actually holds the wood and guides it through that first head, which is a joiner. Then have your pressure rollers, and then it'll go through the second head that has the planer head on it. So this is technically a dual head planer, but it's really a joiner and a planer combo. And so that's how I can do my passes in only 1 pass instead of 3. So it's a little loud in the shop right now because we're working. It's a work day. This is not a weekend, so I have my guys working here, so bear with me on that. I took a 2x4, took a handy dandy Sharpie, and marked out every 1/4 inch on it. As you can see, that is the middle 1/2 inch, and we should achieve that in about 2 passes. I've never done this before on this planer, but that's what the spec sheet says. So let's give it a try. It's 1.5 inches thick right now. I'm gonna set it to 1 inch thick because that's a 1/4 inch off of each side, and it's gonna crank down to it, and we're gonna send this bad boy through. Here we go. So I really hope this works because drawing on that thing was kind of hard. So it's going through the bottom joiner head right now, that 20 horsepower motor, and then it's gonna start hitting this top one right here. And when it comes out, look at that. Bam, baby. Look at that, took off all of that red in 1 pass. 1, my blue lines are straight, that's pretty impressive. And 2, it actually did take off that 1/4 inch, or take the 1/2 inch off at a time. So now let's go back, and this 2x4 is gonna turn into a 1/2 inch, and once again, in 2 passes. Let's try it out. So I'm gonna hit 1/2 inch, boop, boop. If I buy 2x4, I just turned you into a 1/2x4. If that's a real wood, I think it is, 1/2x4. I'm gonna coin it, let's do it. Should come out to a 1/2 inch board. Yeah, baby. It's a slight blue line, but we'll take it to the tape measure. Now, this is pine. I was not gonna put maple through it for video purposes. It'd probably work, but the blades are really, really expensive and I'd rather it cut pine.
Money, 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 money.
Let's see if it worked. And right at that 1/2 inch. Absolutely bonkers. I'm actually really proud that this worked because this was my last 2x4, and so I really hope it worked. But yeah, right at a 1/2 inch. So there you have it, a 2x4 in 2 passes with a double-sided planer down to a 1/2x4 coined by Ryan Drapella Cutting It Close.
Oh, brother.
So I have in my hand here some cherry boards. I'm gonna do 5 of these. This is gonna take us about a minute on this double-sided planer. This used to take me about 15, 20 minutes on my old planer. Team leader Brian here, he's a young guy in the shop, coming up in the wood world. And Brian, would you like to say anything?
I think I have to pee.
So I have one of our panels that we blew up. Once again, we got all this glue on it. And this right now is 1.875 inches thick. And in one pass, it'll go down to 1 3/4, and it's gonna be smooth on both sides. So all I have to do, I push it through, I wait, and this thing's gonna come out beautiful on both sides. And look, beautiful, beautiful. That saves so much time. If you've ever done cutting boards or glued up panels or been in a wood shop, that's a lifesaver. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you ended this video with more knowledge than when you started. Do not forget to like and subscribe. There's gonna be a lot more content coming. We just hired a full-time videographer.
Look at this dude.
And as always, keep living the dream, and thanks for watching.